Hey guys, it is another episode of the Miracle Mindset Shift, and as you can see, I am in the presence of one of the great people I've met here online. Her name is Iona. Hi, Iona. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you. Krystal, thank you for having me. Hey everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you in the presence of you, right?
We're in the presence of each other.
That's awesome.
So can you please tell everybody about you for those that do not already know you?
Okay, thank you. So I'm Meade, and I am the co-founder of the Soul Speakers Academy. My focus has always been on vision. People have come to me in my personal life and in my professional life, and they always say I help them get clear on what it is that they do. So, or what direction they want to go in their life, or the next step that would have their life unfold in a way that they really are passionate about. So I now help visionary light workers and spiritual entrepreneurs to connect with their big vision, I call it, and a soul mission, and really get their clarity, confidence, and systems and strategies, and put a framework around that to create a soul-based business model and a movement. Right now I have a project which we'll share just a little while, called Gifted to Shine. So my journey has been one of there's dark times and light times, and so that contrast has brought me here just to share how we can bring light in the world and how we can really tune into our soul purpose and create balance in our life while we do.
You always present your ideas in such a calm and warm hug type of way, if you understand what I'm trying to say. And just listening to you talk sometimes, I'm like, you know what, this is a good place to be. And
thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, for all of you listening, we're in for a really big treat today, because today we'll be talking about Iona's shift, which very much has to do with overcoming fear of failure, success, sales, and all the things that come along with that, and finding out essentially how she came out to be who she is now, and offering all of the light work that she is doing now. And I'm really eager to get into this, because I'm ready to take notes, y'all. I have my notebook, my pen, we're here. We're here together.
No pressure. Okay. Yeah.
No pressure. No pressure.
I have
it. So I guess I just wanted to say, what was life for you before the shift? Can you please paint a picture of life before?
Oh my goodness. So like many of you, and maybe you as well, Krystal, I had started out on my journey not really knowing what light work is. I didn't know I was a light worker. I didn't know I was an empath. I didn't know all these things. I knew that I had a knowing and an ability to have clarity for people. And so I can take you back to when I was about 8 years old, and I was sat on a doorstep with my friend's grandmother at the time, and everybody else was playing out and playing on their bikes, doing football and playing really fun games and screaming and all the rest of it. And I'm sat on this doorstep speaking to my friend's grandmother, weighing up the pros and cons of her drinking and the impact that it was having on my friend's life and her family. And I was saying to her, you know, if you choose to drink, this is what might happen. If you choose not to.
Oh. Hello?
Went out. I don't know.
Did I lose you?
Yeah, I'm good. Am I here?
Yes, you're here.
Awesome.
Okay, you were talking about weighing the pros and cons of drinking.
Yeah, and so I was like, she was an alcoholic, and I didn't know that because I was 8 years old. So I've always had that ability to have that vision for other people. And so along the journey in my life, awakening to coaching, and I was working in the childcare field for like close to 2 decades. And so I always related to people, and I came across coaching while I was working in the childcare field. And I thought, this is something that I really want to get into. And everybody's like, you're going to be brilliant at it. It's going to be amazing. But lo and behold, when your life unfolds in a new way, I discovered The Secret and the Law of Attraction. And as we were talking about yesterday, things started to shift. The way that I thought about myself in the world, the way that I engaged changed. I was discovering myself and what I wanted in life. And that didn't go very well in the relationship that I was in. I was married at the time, and he was like, what, so now I've got to change? I was like, no, I just grow. And I feel like a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs and light workers then have this awakening journey, and if they're in a relationship, sometimes that doesn't play out at the same level of growth with their partner. Or if there's negativity around them, it's like, oh gosh, what am I going to do? I've got to stay in this bubble of positivity. So anyway, like fast forward, I was going through a divorce, a messy divorce for years. We ended up having our home repossessed. I ended up homeless. I ended up bankrupt. It was crazy. It was a really crazy time for me. And so me not figuring out how to really get my gifts out in the world with coaching, me being afraid of failure, success in selling. My ex-husband was like, well, you can't really do this. You don't, who are you kind of thing. And he was fueling those fears. But the year before, we got married on Cocoa Beach, we bought a house, we had a nice lifestyle. I actually helped him build his business and double his income almost in a year. But when it came to me, it was it was like selling myself and selling my soul by inviting people to work with me. I didn't have that clarity, I didn't have confidence, I didn't have systems and strategies, because when we come out of training school, we're not always equipped. And so my journey unfolded, and being homeless and bankrupt, I was like, do you know what? I'm okay with having both in my life, having the money and having the lifestyle, and figuring out a way how I could be in service. So I knew before the shift of being in service, before the shift of what was the failure all about, what was the fear of success, what was the fear of selling, it was doing it in a way online in the coaching industry, in a way that wasn't alignment with my soul. I now know that part of that was money blocks as well. I didn't want to make money and be successful in a certain kind of way that I saw online, and not knowing I was an empath and feeling all of that energy, it was all impacting me, and the chaos was unfolding. And what we're not often taught is this chaos is going to unfold, because that's part of your awakening journey to those dark times where you're going to have your gifts. And so for me, excuse me, I was stuck. I was really, really stuck. And I didn't have like-minded people around me to say, hey, this is the way that you go. I was outpriced on programs. It felt like a really lonely, empty mess, to be fair. It's started for me before the shift.
Yeah, oh my God. There's so much good in that. But something that I did want to ask about is the moment you said, you got your home repossessed, you were homeless, you were bankrupt. Mm-hmm. That still took place before the shift, right?
Yeah, so that was life before the shift.
Yes. So how do you go from that place of feeling at your lowest low and still being able to say, there's something for me out there, there's something that I'm working towards? Where do you find that motivation?
So for me, it was vision. So having a big vision. So while I was in the home before it got repossessed, excuse me, I'd gone to a seminar in London, and I saw somebody on stage. He was doing he was a hypnotherapist, but he was doing other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the room was electric. It was amazing. I made some amazing connections. And then it came to the selling, and selling at the back of the room, and the whole room was like really uncomfortable. He wasn't tapped into the audience really and where they were at, and people were talking about it. I'm not saying, excuse me, don't sell, but that connection wasn't there. And right then, when I was that participant, I was speaking to somebody who said, I am a hypnotherapist and I could do better than that. And I said, well, why are you not up there on the stage? Where is the mismatch? Somebody who believes that they're really talented, but they're not up there. And in that moment, I was like, I want to be the person that bridges that gap. And somebody believes that that's where they can make a difference, and that why are they not there? And somebody that's already up there, why are they not making that connection, what I now call a soul-to-soul connection with our audience, with people that have given up the time to actually come and participate in their event. It was selling, but it was hardcore selling. It felt really uncomfortable. So I kind of went on that journey to say, that's not where I want to be. I want to be having soul-to-soul connections. I don't want to feel like I'm selling myself, but if you have a business, if we want to do our light work and we want to be spiritual entrepreneurs, that is part and parcel of business.
Yeah.
And being comfortable with that and being in service, excuse me, was the thing that shifted that for me and kept me going. I had that vision to bridge the gap. What I said then, what came to me was to bridge the gap from training school, where I came from, to vibrant practice building. Now I know that was vibrational practice building, being in vibrational match to attract what it is that your soul is calling you to do. I didn't have the framework that I have now. I didn't have all of the knowing that I have now, but I definitely knew that I wanted to connect with people that had gone on a similar journey to me. That's the thing that kept me going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God, that's really amazing. And I mean, I know we're about to get into the main shift that happened for you further along, and so I guess the shift that happened during that seminar was, I think in a recent mindset shift video, I called it a feather moment, where you were being tickled by a feather to let you know, like, hey, there's an inkling here. There's something to follow. If you can remember the feels, how did your body react when you had that thought, or when you realized and noticed that there was a gap?
I don't remember the exact feeling.
Yeah, that's
or the words, like the words that I spoke after that. And I remember being in the accommodation that wasn't far from there, and I was on my own. And I remember speaking out loud. I call it soul speaking into existence now. But I remember finding my voice. And I said to somebody at that seminar, I feel like I found my voice. I just spoke out what it was that I wanted to create. I just knew that there was something inside of me. So ever since then, I've had a sense of knowing and trusting and being guided. And so it was almost like a split decision moment, like a cut off, I know I don't have to be that way or that way. I can focus on being in the middle. And being in the middle was that bridging gap. It's not like at the bottom failing. And it's not at the top like, oh, well, I'm a guru. Neither of those drive me. It was more that, okay, let's illuminate the path. So I felt certain. I felt like I had a certainty in me. And I just remember sharing with someone that I'd met. I found my voice. So I now call that giving voice to your gifts. So.
That is so good. For those of you watching, I like put the screen on Iona when she's talking because I don't want you guys to see that I'm like looking down, scribbling. Like these are golden nuggets, y'all. But this is as perfect a time as any. What did this shift look like for you? What was happening in your mind? What was happening in your life? What was that big shift that turned around everything for you?
So traveling along that journey, when you hit your rock bottom, right, or what I believe was my rock bottom, but I still had my head up high. Because before I ended up losing the house, which we didn't have to, we had 30 grand, £30,000 equity in the house. So, but that was part of the journey. So not having the things around me, not being able to have my business, I just launched a prosperity program, and I was set to launch a prosperity thinking series. Just having that contrast of all of that poverty, launch that, okay, what's the mindset and the word set that I need to be having to move forward. So all the time that I was homeless, I was still focusing on, I just launched, and I had clients before I had to close my office down. So I went back and I got a job, and I actually, what I call soul-sucking day job, and that was sales. And so I got good at selling, meaning I was just having conversations with people. And I was doing this job, and my boss back then, who became a friend, they had made so much money in their company. They were like, everybody do what Iona's doing, including the boss was telling his wife, they were in the company together, do what Iona's doing. And I'm like, what? I care. I just care. I wasn't doing anything amazing. I was just having conversations and having fun. And so during that time, I wanted to go to an event called Millionaire Mind. I don't know if you're familiar with T. Harbecker, are you?
Oh, I am. Just recently, actually, a couple months ago, I read that book, Secrets as a Millionaire Mind.
Yes, I've got it. And so just before the launch of the Telechat series, we're going to London. Barry's coming with me. So this was 6.5 years ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I typed in Google, like you do in my lunch break, like T. Harbeck. I really wanted to go, and all of the tickets were usually in America, and I didn't know that he would be in London. And so I was like, oh, right, great. I got like free tickets. I got cheap train tickets, like, because it was ahead of time. It was 4 weeks out from that time. And I booked a hostel. I couldn't afford it. I was homeless then. So I was homeless. Who does that? Goes to a millionaire mind and I'm homeless. £1,000, not dollars, £160,000 in debt from the house, homeless, sleeping in a bedroom with my daughter, sharing a bed, and my son was with my father at the time. So I booked this hostel, which was like a mixed dorm. And when I got there, when I arrived, I was in the dorm with men and women, and I cried. I got into the lobby and I cried. I was like, oh, I can't do this. It's worse than the homeless place, right? So I pleaded with them to put me in a room with women. I think, I can't remember, 9 or 12 beds or something. And I went to the Millionaire Mind intensive. And people there had said to me, I can see you on the stage. And I said, you don't understand, I'm homeless. And they were talking about purpose and about money and having all areas of your life being aligned. And you'll know with the T. Harbecker, it starts in the mind, that attraction. And so that was the real big shift. That was the turnaround for me. And now coming full circle, going with my partner Barry, and we will be going back. At the time when I went there, I didn't realize my relationship with money, hence the money loss. I didn't realize they do a special thing at the event, which I won't spoil it for everyone if you guys haven't been.
What a cliffhanger.
I can't. They say don't tell everyone what they do, but they do several exercises and releasing. And so I released, I can tell you what block I released. I didn't feel worthy.
Okay.
So releasing that was a real big shift, actually. because I didn't then have those fears, because underlying every fear, there will be something deeper, whether it's self-doubt, whether it's self-sabotage, it's something. And I had that shift, and I've been on that journey. So being bankrupt, I got to work on my business. I am someone who, no matter what shows up in my life, I will turn it around to serve me. I will turn it around to serve my vision. So I was working on my business, working on my book. I actually attracted a book called Empowered Women of Social Media, and I co-authored with 44 other women, or 44 of us all together collectively, and it went to #1 on Amazon. So I was like, there's the
beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't have to do things alone. It was really successful, and that taste of that success, collective success, not just, well, this is me, I'm over here, it was amazing. So that power of collaboration I used, and I actually learned how to do joint venture partnerships, which in doing them, I actually wanted to turn that around and create joint vision partnerships, because the joint venture partnerships, which I didn't really understand at the time, was that, again, focusing on the list building. And I wanted to focus on being in service first. So I combined the two, the structure of the marketing with the structure of having soul and being more soulful. And so I created a summit. It was called the #1 Divine Intervention Virtual Event with 44 soul speakers. I ended up doing close to 100 interviews. I paused that event because I got a phone call, and I know that you will know this, and for those of you who don't know, I got a phone call to say my son had an accident. He'd got knocked off his motorbike. He didn't make it. He passed away on the roadside. And that will be 4 years ago on the 24th of this month. So in a few days, and I was launching my summit. I took time out. I knew my business would be okay, so I took 7 weeks out, just hold space for myself, and I did my summit anyway. And I wanted I knew I needed to have my message be out there, that legacy that we take life for granted, right? We presume that we're gonna have all of this life. I just knew. So being in service was the thing that got me through. My vision was the thing that got me through those times. And so after about a year and a half, and I delivered my services and my boot camp and stuff, and I came offline to help and heal myself first and focus on all areas of my life. Now I call it the 7 freedoms. And so I'm launching again with 27 light leaders. I'm launching the soul income injection movement, and aligning your soul purpose with yearly soul income and dedicating it to my son. Because not aligning your purpose and not knowing what your purpose is and not being open to receiving that income impacted my children's lives. I was at my computer, I was working all the time. I was, experiences. I didn't have the money to pay for his funeral. I had covered my own costs, right? Like 250,000, something happened to me, everything's done. I didn't have that backup. What I didn't plan, you don't plan for something like that to happen in your life. That shift, hitting my rock bottom, which I thought when I was homeless, being in service, and then, because my son was always going to be in the business, being in service and working hard and going out there, then something like that happens, and it's like, do you know what? That's not what life is about. It's not one or the other. I really started to tap into what was really important to me and the experiences that I wanted to have. And I have a beautiful granddaughter who left me a beautiful gift, Brooklyn, showing her, actually, this is what life is about. This is how you grieve, and this is how you use something that has happened to you in your life as that gift. And so Gifted to Shine, the group that is hosting the Soul Income Injection movement, is about coming out of what I had a dark decade of the soul, Krsytal. And in those times is where my gifts came,
Yeah.
And my son's with me, guiding me, guiding me to you and to all of my guests. And for anyone that has experienced any kind of fear, is like, what have you to fear? We're only here once.
Yeah. That I was taken on a journey in here talking just now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just remembering back when you were talking about attending the Millionaire Minds seminar, and people said, like, I can see you on the stage, and I can really see you on the stage, and not, and I really, it really comes full circle with everything you've been talking about, being the bridge for the gap, and now doing what you're doing with the telechat series, and just Gifted to Shine, all of it. It just, I can see your path, and I'm so grateful that you've been on it, because yes, through it you've been connected to me, and through it I'm going to learn so much, not that I haven't already. Like every 10 seconds you'd be like, oh yes, and this thing that happened to me, I call that my this process. I'm like, oh, write the notes, because I'm like, she has it down. But yeah, and I think I should probably ask more questions on like some of the things that you went into, and I think with your building of your business, did you come up on moments where it was I want to take a positive spin on this. Did you come up on moments where you were affirmed by everyone you were talking to? Like, okay, you were homeless, or I don't remember the timeline on this, but you were homeless. Everything does not feel like perfect right now, but this is your calling. It feels like this is what was happening. And what did that look like physically?
In what sense? What do you mean? Like, yeah, can you reframe that? Like,
yes. I think I want to ask, like, while everything was going on externally that did not seem like it was right.
Right thing, yeah.
While you were following your path, did you feel like internally you were getting confirmation that it's okay to keep going down this path, no matter how uncertain it is?
100%.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. And so I didn't have that, again, those like-minded people around me. I have some beautiful friendships. My best friend, we've been friends since we were 6.5 years old. So that's coming up for like 4 decades, right? So I have soul sisters, like 18 years, 20-year friendships, really deep friendships, to the point where I have their back, they have mine, no matter what. And so, but going on the spiritual journey, and now when I speak, and more we speak about things and they see my light, but it's not the similar path, it's not people that I could then confide in. And the relationship that I was in for 7 years, after my divorce, I was in a relationship for 7 years. We had some great times, but for the most part, it was toxic. And I didn't realize how toxic until I actually went on the journey and discovered, actually, I'm an empath. And that's not okay. Do you know what I mean? So I had people around me saying, why are you doing what you're doing? It's not working. It's so. And I'm like, I know being in service. So everyone that I have been in service to, every student, every client, I always get testimonials. I always get people saying, oh, they've had that shift. That's the thing that kept me going. My children believed in me always. I shared with you, I think I shared with you.
It's a song title from Hamilton the musical. Oh. And you preach us a 1-minute sermon on that song title with a text.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, I don't know what. I don't know what happened. Was that
I
me?
don't know. I don't think that was me because I don't have anything on my screen.
Oh,
But I think Hamilton the Musical is a great musical.
okay, that was probably me then. Sorry. I think it was a watch party that had ended.
Oh, and then it turned into, yeah, that makes sense.
It made me lose my Oh, so I think I shared with you about my daughter saying about my vision. You know, when she kicked off the summit with me, the first summit that I did, and she said she interviewed me, and when she got to one of the questions, she got teary, and I said, "What's up?" Because they've been on this journey with me, and that's why I wanted to model something different for them and for my granddaughter as well. And she said, "Mum, you know, even when nobody believed in you, you stood in your vision alone." And so she could see that. So even when things were going to, I won't swear, things were, when
You can swear. I think people swear on this all the time.
Okay, even when things were going to shit, like, well, that's not sorry. But do you know what I mean? Even when things seemed that, you know, on the outside, things were breaking down, and we were talking about this yesterday, I knew it was a shedding of my own vibration. I was doing so much work on myself. I was working on me. And a lot of people have said, you know, as I've put both interview series, but this one as well, coming back online, that I can see you've done the work. Like, I absolutely have. We'll always be doing the work. I've done the work on me to feel good about myself and to be sure in my own skin, you know, to be comfortable in my own skin. And that takes that self-reflection, that takes what are your intentions. And so even when things looked wonky on the outside, I had that knowing, I had that call, I had those signs, I was connected. With the other interview series, it was called the #1 Divine Intervention Virtual Event. I mean, who calls their event that? And people going, what are you doing? I go, I don't know. I'm riding by the seat of my pants. I just did it. And so with the Telechat series, it was a name. 6 weeks ago? It was just a name. It was just an idea. I made up the name of Telechat. I was always going to have the movement inside of me, and the way that things put together and just locked together. I tell you, my vision was already done. It was just already done for me. It was just the external world had to catch up with it.
Yeah.
And now I have an amazing man by my side, who believes in me, who believes in bigger than me, who always has said, I see you on the stage. I'm like, can you just cut that out, right? No. Just stop.
I mean, a ton of people have been telling you this, so there's something to that.
So in the first summit that I did before I came off, people were saying, I'm going to fly from the States and I'm going to come and do an event with you. And I'm like, do you see me going on this? And so Gifted to Shine, actually, the name and the domain name came from that, because somebody asked me to do an event. I was like, I'm just going to do it because everybody's asking. But the way that the lady's vision was working, we weren't sure of the audience. We weren't sure of, I mean, she was talking about booking venues before we got clarity on things. And it didn't feel great with me. And we'll probably work together in the future. But at that time, I bought the domain name Gifted to Shine. I just knew to have Gifted to Shine. And then it's come full circle. And we have the Gifted to Shine group, the Gifted to Shine page. And I'm like, oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
So my vision, connecting, helping people to connect with their big vision and their soul mission is part of that. I've always done that. Even when things go wonky, things go like the sidestep, I know, and I trust that, okay, I'll ask out loud, like, okay, what's going on? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Show me what this is. Okay, I'm trusting, but show me what it is. Like, I like to know a little bit. Yeah, you don't always know ahead of time, and that's not what I'm saying, but you have a sense of knowing that you're guided. And the times, I don't know if you, like, I'll see 11, 11, 10 to 10, double figure, you know, and I'll realize what I'm thinking in that moment. And I saw you post about 1111 on your group, like 111 members.
Yes.
Right. So guess what happened to me this morning? I was about to leave go away out of the office, and I was messaging the lady that's going to co-host the launch party, and she had added our image to her story, and I was like, how did you do that? So Barry helped me do that. And anyway, I said to her, how did you do that? And she said, I don't know. It just said add story. I said, so there wasn't like an aha moment, like a light bulb moment behind that. And she said, no. And as she said that, then I just saw on my screen 1111 for 111 members in the channel. Like,
amazing.
There you go. So we're just guided. You know, the signs are really obvious for me. A lot of signs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are the things that keep me grounded, keep me positive, keep me trusting in the process, trusting that it's a journey, it's a reflection inside of me. And anything that I see out there, then that's for me to clean up and clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's fun.
That is so good. I think a great question to follow up on that, something that came to mind is, like, yes, we do have all of these signs drawing us, like assuring us we're on the right path, How do you help someone who isn't completely clear on their vision to understand what they're working towards, what they can stay grounded in to keep moving forward?
I love that question. And I've never been asked that question.
No way. In your kind of work, nobody asks you that.
I love the way that you worded that, and to answer really concisely. I don't know how you guys are for time, but I have always believed in someone, and even bigger than when you don't always believe in yourself. First and foremost, it's like, I see your light. I'm not gonna listen to the bullshit story of whatever it is. Like, okay, well, you want to get that out of your system, and then. So it's like, oh, well, I want to do this, but, or the words. And I'm like, okay, that you might get to press pause and have a breath, but we're still going to do this. And so in of business, we now, with the 7 freedoms, the different areas of your life, if you're familiar with the wheel of life, we get clear on each area of your life, and I'll share what they are in the telechat series. But we tap into, okay, what do you want your life to look and feel like? What does it look like now? In terms of for business, that clarity and that vision doesn't actually come from your headspace. Like, I'm going to overthink this. I'm an overthinker a lot. It doesn't come from thinking about it. So one thing for me, and Barry and I had this conversation today, is the list building. You don't necessarily get to have that empathy and that connection. And that was the biggest turn off for me, because that wasn't why I was doing business. So instead of going out like, let's build a list, and the money's in the list, and saying, the 1% conversion rate, I actually support people in reaching out and having a soul-to-soul connection and actually being in service first. And that is where you have clarity. That is where you find your vision. The people that you're working with let you know what it is that you're good at, and what it is that you're passionate about. You learn it in the trenches. You literally learn it in the trenches, and people avoid that. There's a fear of, oh, am I going to do this wrong? Am I going to do this? And one of the beautiful things is that I teach it, the clarity, confidence, systems, and strategies, and you get them all in the trenches. You don't go out and build what I call the outside stuff, the systems and the strategies first, building a list, help you get the clarity and the confidence by being in the trenches, and then you do the outside stuff, and you tweak it, and you learn, and you be okay with saying, I'm going to play and dance with this, and I'm going to learn. I'm going to actually ask people what it is that I do. So one of the things that I help people do is actually have soul-to-soul conversations. Brainstorming is what I'm doing now, and get a testimonial for a session, for a conversation, for giving somebody a breakthrough. And in that, I call it a two-way testimonial. You hear what people come to you for, and they speak to you in a way that you never even know. It's like, what? Is that what I did? Especially because it's your gifts. It just comes and it downloads out of you and you don't know what you say, but somebody said, oh, I got a real shift. And you're like, what did I do? You're in that moment and in that zone, that when you hear and you have that testimony and you hear somebody speak that back to you, it gives you those shifts. It gives you that clarity, because the more people you serve, there's a common thread that people, and it's the thing that lights you up that you would do paid or unpaid, right? It's the thing that like is just your genius zone, comes so naturally to you. I have those conversations. Now we'll have the conversations with Iona, and that's my genius. That's my genius zone, to see the bigger picture for someone and help them connect with their vision. And people, so helping people connect with their vision and take action on that was actually the words of somebody that came to me. She said, Iona helps you to connect with your vision and take action on that. I'm like, absolutely. So I used to be called the vision coach, and then it was the vision and mission, and now it's the big vision and soul mission, because that's just, I was 8 years old seeing a bigger vision for someone and just weighing up pros and cons. So yeah, you get clarity in the trenches. You don't get it sitting here thinking about it. You be in service, and you be brave enough and bold enough to have the courage and confidence to be in service, especially as a light worker or a spiritual entrepreneur. It's like, I've got these gifts. Okay, yeah, they're great, but if you keep them all to yourself, they're not really gifts. You're just thinking about having gifts, thinking about being in service in the world. And so for me,
hello.
Yeah. Oh, you lost me?
You might be there, but I'm not sure.
I am here, so I don't.
Or is it me?
I don't know. I'm not in the group, so I can hear you.
No. Do I have internet? Okay. Iona, I'm not sure where she is.
I'm here.
But to those of you watching, we're gonna wait a little on this. I'm sure she will. This still shows up, and just maybe her camera went out. I mean, I guess I can reflect on what she was saying, but it's so funny to listen and watch Iona talking about this now, because where you, the viewer, might be at this moment, she left. I think she's refreshing. Hopefully she's refreshing. Hopefully. But to you, the viewer watching, it's so, it might feel like right now things are very uncertain. Things are very not clear. Maybe you do have that vision. She might coming back. Hello. Hi.
You go ahead. Wrap up whatever you were saying.
Oh no, I was just reflecting, and I think this is what I was going to tell you as well. But it's interesting to see you listen to your story right now, and how clearly you could break down, this is what was happening to me then, and this is what was happening to me at that point. And for those watching who are in a place of uncertainty right now, or in a place of having a lack of clarity in either their path, their vision, whatever else, there is a warm assuredness that by listening to your story, by listening to all of the things you have gone through, up and down, you were always on track. You were always on path to become who you are now, and who you are continuously becoming. So that is so beautiful, and that is so amazing. It's amazing to witness. And as well as learn from. So thank you for sharing all of that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I share, that's what I call now is that soul marketing, connecting soul to soul. So with the Soul Speakers Academy, that's what soul speaking into existence, actually doing that, using your voice. And so I've learned doing close to 100 interviews. Hosting close to 100 interviews. I'm not usually on this side of the fence. And so in my, what I call my soul marketing system, in the soul marketing masterclass, I share my story. I've broken that down, which is quite deep to break down, and it's quite a long story. But to share it and connect it here, that's the first time I've ever shared my story and put together the pieces in showing up, in showing up for you. And you're asking me what that shift was. It's like, what was that? And so, like the purpose of everything that I do is for us to shine our light in the world, to have that transformation in whatever way is unique to us, but not doing it alone, doing it collectively. And in that, as we are just having that connection, it's powerful. That connection, that energy just creates worlds. So that's the biggest thing, is like, you don't get so people say to me in my testimonials, they didn't get that clarity alone. So trying to get that clarity, and you're trying to get it from your own head, right? You might just need to reach out and have a different kind of conversation. Ask yourself different questions. Feel into your life in a completely different way. I could have literally just stayed in bed, not out of bed. Even now, you know, any mama having that phone call, I mean, just, I howled. Do you know what I mean? And it was insane. My son, just, and the most amazing young man, you know, not even reaching 20, and my daughter, she's 16 now. It's just that whatever is going on, so I remember saying, Krsytal, when I was doing my interview series, because he knew about it and he knew about my book, I remember saying, I'll take that. I hear myself on the interviews, I'll take that. Not every mama gets close to, 20 years, because he was inside of me. It was 12 days before his 20th birthday. I'll take that. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, why me? My daughter actually said, Mum, she was 11, and she said, Mum, it was his time. And I said, why do you say that? And she said, if it wasn't, he would have opened his eyes. At 11 years old. So
that's amazing.
That's the way that we live into. People say, you know, I'm spiritual and I'm on this path and I co-create my life with the divine, the universe. It's like, do you believe that really? Do you believe that really? Because somebody had said to me the other day, well, maybe that's just that was his purpose, our agreement to do things. He's on that side guiding me. And I said, yeah, that maybe so. That's not the trade-off that I would have wanted, but it has helped shape who I am. He helped shape who I am. When he was here, he gave me grey hairs. When he was a teenager, he gave me some more after that.
Oh my God.
You know, so whatever shows up. And so I've been through some stuff, and some stuff I've created, like, you know, from my own fear, my energy, I couldn't then, you know, that's not through my own actions. But no matter what shows up, it's like, that is going to serve me. That is going to serve me. And part of the being in service first, as we were talking just before coming on, is being in service to yourself first. And so I look after me. And so I have that cup that's full to be in service in the world. So without that, without the doubt, and without all those things, because I'm in alignment with my soul, I'm in alignment with my values, and I have some amazing people around me. I have just the most amazing lights, and so just co-creating with you and all of the other 27 what I call light leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Just phenomenal. It never feels like work. I literally just laugh all of the time. I have so much fun. I literally do. People are like, what are you doing? Except for when my graphics don't come when I want them to come. Like, what is going on? The guy was really lovely. But yeah, for 99% of the time, I'm having fun.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
You were speaking to serving yourself first as part of being at service, in service.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just add on to that, like, if you do believe in the universal truth of how that we are all connected and that we are all essentially one, in serving yourself, you are serving others, and being able to pour from that cup is very much about contributing to the same source. It's through yourself, it's through other people. So that is so good. And I think these are great thoughts to leave people with. So where can people find you? Where can people follow? And make sure to stay on top of the notifications for the telechat series.
Ooh, if you go to Gifted to Shine, at Gifted to Shine on Facebook, then you'll see the group and you'll see the page. It's in the works. It's coming. The launch party is on Monday, the 22nd.
So soon. Get on it, people.
No, at 6 p.m. my time. And then we have a leading light with an interview there from Kimberly Masker. And then we have what I downloaded. See, I follow that guidance. The Power of Freeze is the telechat series, and it's the soul income injection movement. For any of you guys who want to align your soul purpose with your yearly soul income.
No.
Dropped off.
I think you're there.
Let's go on.
Oh, you're there. There you are.
Yes, for anyone that wants to align their soul purpose and their yearly soul income with ease, grace, and flow, using the model of the 7 freedoms, I call it. So, if any of you guys, and I'm sure you guys will be familiar with the Wheel of Life in every area of your life, and you might have done a Wheel of Life at some point and then not picked it up again. And Barry and I have created a soulful lifestyle based on the 7 freedoms. So it's Cheers to Financial Freedom is part of the telechat series, which stands for contribution freedom, health freedom, emotional freedom, because that really matters. That's that point of attraction, right? Mm-hmm. Environmental freedom, relationship freedom, spiritual freedom, and financial freedom. And going on the journey of not just contributing out in the world or going for the money, having it all, being able to have all of things that really light you up and setting the soul intention to actually experience what it is that you want in your life on this earthly plane before our time is up. Because I've had a lot of losses in my life. I've had my brother passed away, my father passed away, my son's passed away, and a lot more. And so it helps you to value life and actually be okay with living the life that you really truly want, and raising the consciousness of our planet. Having the lifestyle that feels soulful. For me, there's nothing else that I'd rather do.
It's so, you are so eloquent with your words, and I do truly feel like I'm being wrapped in a warm hug of purpose, if that's a thing.
Giving you, yeah, that is the intention. And working on myself, being offline, was a choice made from releasing the relationship that I was in, and actually just saying, you know what, I'm good with having it all. I'm good with having it all. So then when I do shine my light, I can shine it even brighter. So everything that I've done literally has been through the lens of being in service.
Yeah. I'm just so you know, the phrase "I'm good with having it all" is now my mantra.
Yes. Yay! Is it really?
Well, I've decided right now. I wrote it down. It's my notes.
Oh,
I'm good with having it all.
I want to know, well, we'll talk, but I want to know what the snippets were, because part of doing that whole list building thing, and I'll just be really quick, is us saying, like we were saying yesterday, about having conversations are king rather than content's king.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, because whatever that is that's coming through me, that's all guided, I don't hear the things that you guys hear. It just is me. Barry's always saying to me,
yeah.
do you realise, do you know? And I go, I actually don't. So I miss that. It's just me showing up being me. Like, you show up and be you. Mm-hmm. And so I would love to know what the notes are. What are the nuggets? I'd love to know what you guys think.
Yes, and for time, I am going to send a picture of this to you. I can even like take a picture and post it in the comments, because there are so many good nuggets in here, but a lot of it, I did underline service first. I think that's something that all of us always have to remind ourselves of, because ego or the fears will try to convince you otherwise. But service first, serving yourself, serving others, and you're going to see these notes later, so I won't go into it too much longer. Thank you again for taking the time. I know this conversation alone is going to help so many people. And I'm looking forward to the telechat series. Everybody, follow up now. I'm going to be a part of it. A whole lot of other amazing light workers are going to be a part of it, and we cannot wait to share it with y'all.
Give Krsytal a big shout out in the Gift to Shine group. Let me know that she sent you over there, so I can give you a welcome.
Amazing. So good. Thank you guys. And I will see you guys in the next Miracle Mindset Shift next week. Bye.
Bye.